Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Day in Film MiniCast. It is your host, the Patnator, as always, and before we jump in to whatever number episode this is now, I just wanted to say I am so incredibly happy with the growth of the channel. It really does mean the world to me to see how much you guys are enjoying and reacting and responding to the content. I'm going to keep making these because it helps me get my head off whatever movie I watched so I can sleep peacefully. And I'm here for you guys, I'm doing this for myself, but I'm here for you guys. So if there's anything I can do to make this watching/listening experience more enjoyable, let me know, and Lord knows I'll get right to it. But anyway, let's jump into the movie for today. Today, I watched 2024's very own, directed by Glintz Zilbaldiz, I don't know, something like that, Latvian guy, his very own Flow. Flow follows a very interesting and unique story between a cat, a dog, a capybara, a lemur, and a bird I don't know the name of. So automatically, if you've seen anything about this movie, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I thought this movie was great. I seriously really did like this movie. I saw it with my mom. She is a big cat lover, and I mean, the movie got to her. She didn't cry, but I could, she was throwing her arms up in the theater. She was going, ah! She was very invested, which made me subsequently enjoy the movie more, I think, than if I saw it by myself. But still, this is absolutely worth your time. I'm going to lightly spoil the movie, but, I mean, it's nothing that you can't see coming. Yeah, let's jump right in. So, one of the most unique things about this movie is not only its animation program that they use, but the way it tells its story. Flow is a completely dialogue-less film. The movie is absolutely zero words in any language, not even Latvian, and the movie consists of exclusively animal sounds. Cat meowing, capybaras, whatever sound they make, whatever you'd call that, their growl, I guess. Dogs barking, lemurs monkeying about, it's all sounds, which I think is a very good way to do an animated film, especially about animals like this, because my biggest fear was watching this movie and hearing Seth Rogen start talking for the bird. It would have broken my heart. And I think a lot of the movie's emotional core comes from the fact that you can't hear these animals in English or whatever language you speak. They're not speaking anything, they're just making sounds. And I think that's perfect, because if they were speaking, it wouldn't feel as pure and as animalistic and as instinctual as I guess the movie is. And to get onto the other thing, the animation, it is a very uniquely animated film. This movie was animated using Blender, and I've seen my fair share of Blender content, definitely never a movie in Blender, and I kind of instantly noticed it. And I think this is my biggest hang-up on the movie, whether or not it being animated with Blender is a good or bad thing. Now, I appreciate the style it gives, no doubt. I think it works very well for the movie, but at certain times the movie definitely does kind of feel like Stray, that Cat PS4, PS5 game, and at other times it definitely does feel like a cutscene, or like a preview or a showcase at like a Nintendo Direct. Look how strong our thing is. Using Blender and Unity Engine, we can generate 10 trillion tiny mega triangles to generate light refraction, whatever it may be. Overall, I think it's a good thing for the movie, but there are definitely times where, like, especially insides of mouths, you see the insides of, like, the dog's and the cat's mouth pretty regularly, meowing, and the dog's panting, whatever it may be, and it's just like a solid flat red, which is okay. I'm not like, this is nitpicky, but there are some other things too that, because it's animated in Blender, they just didn't, either they didn't bother to, or they couldn't go over it again and make it look a little cleaner, which is fine. Overall, I'm happy with the way this movie looks. And if I could change it to Disney CG, I definitely wouldn't, because I think its Blender style is what gives it so much personality. But let's talk about how this movie manages to fill you with so much emotion and care and love for these animals, more than if it was human voices. I think a lot of that comes down to the way it's animated and the way they act with each other and the sounds they make. You know, a lot of this movie is kind of banking off the fact that you are a cat, or not a cat person, but just a pets person, that you don't like seeing animals be harmed. A lot of this movie is like, you know, very cutesy, like, oh, the cat stretches and then it yawns and it lays back down. You know, the capybara falls over and knocks over all the monkey stuff. You know, just little things like that. I think it is very cute, and it ends up working in favor for the movie incredibly well, because that's the stuff that gets you emotionally invested. You know, if you're a human being, you probably like cute animals, and this movie is, when it's not making you stress out of your mind about the cute animals being in danger, this movie is just cute animals hanging out and messing around with each other on a boat, which sounds like it would get repetitive, but it keeps it pretty fresh for its full runtime. This movie runs just a little under an hour and a half, and I mean, I think it uses its runtime really well. There are no parts of this movie where it feels like it's particularly stretched or strained. You know, this movie feels like it's on a pretty clear path, even if you don't know what that path is. This is the part where I'm gonna get most into spoilers for the movie. Before I do, I have to say, the title of the movie, Flow, fits incredibly well. There are some gorgeous moments in this movie all about the flow of the world around the cat and around all the animals. You know, you see how for the world to be at peace, everything has to flow together. Oh, how genius, guys, how genius. And I think it's really beautiful. I really do think it's beautiful. But yeah, into the spoilers. The bird ends up sacrificing himself, just like Jesus Christ, to quell the storm. I'm kidding, of course, but I think what they do there, it's the most experimental, kind of unique thing about the movie. Everything else it's not traditional, because there isn't really another movie like this where it's just animals hanging out together, but it's definitely the most like out there moment in the movie, and I loved it. The way they animate this scene, and if you've seen the movie, I mean, obviously you know what I'm talking about, and I don't think I'll be able to throw up a clip, but if I can, I will. It's animated so gorgeously. It's like you're staring into the cosmos themselves, and I mean, I loved it. I absolutely adored it. To get out of spoilers now, not that that was much of a spoiler, but I thought the music in this movie was very good. It was very, it fit the film very well. There were a lot of, because there's no real action in this movie. There's not traditional, like, there's no fight scene really. There's like one, I guess, but a lot of this movie is from a fearful cat's perspective. So a lot of the music fits that kind of fearful, like scared, low down to the ground thing, and I think it worked really well. And there are a lot of beautiful tracks. There are a lot of moments that play this really uplifting, wholesome, you know, we're gonna do it score that I really love. There's just a lot to love with this movie, and if it's playing in your theaters, I absolutely recommend you watch it. I gave Flow an 8 out of 10. Will it win Best Animated Picture? I don't know. I think I'm still a little more in favor of The Wild Robot, but I think I'd kind of want to rewatch them back to back. Whatever wins Animated Picture this year, I mean, there are quite a few good contenders. If Wild Robot won, I wouldn't be angry. If Flow won, I wouldn't be angry. If Look Back won, I would absolutely not be angry. You know, there's some beautiful, beautiful movies out this year, and watch them all, guys. If you have the time, watch a movie. Even right now. You at school? Who cares? Watch a movie you've already seen on your phone. You only live once, right? But that's all I have to say. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the theaters.